Welcome to What's Math. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. This video is focusing on factoring with an emphasis on the sum and the difference of two squares. The sum of two squares. You must have two different signs for the middle term to cancel out. Why? Let's take a good look. We have x plus 3 times x minus 3. So one is a positive 3 and one is a negative 3. Both signs are different. If I should FOIL it, I will end up with x squared minus 3x plus 3x minus 9. If I should combine like terms, the middle terms, they cancel each other out because they are additive inverse. So I'm left with x squared minus 9, which is the difference of two squares. What happens if both signs were positive? If I should distribute, I will end up with x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. If I should combine like terms, I will end up with x squared plus 6x plus 9. So the middle term does not cancel out. So we did not end up with the sum of two squares. What happened if both of them were negative? If I should FOIL, I will end up with x squared minus 3x plus 9. If I should combine like terms, I will end up with x squared minus 6x plus 9. Once again, the middle term did not cancel out each other, so we did not end up with the sum of two squares. So what does the sum of two squares look like? 25x squared plus 9 or x squared plus 16. Based on the why and the why not, we now realize that it's important to note that the sum of two squares is a prime and it cannot be factors. They can't be factored. So it's in the prime state. The difference of two squares. Step 1. Find the square root of the first term. Step 2. Find the square root of the second term. Step 3. Your answer will be in the format of the root of the first term plus the root of the second term times the root of the first term minus the root of the second term. Why? If we have x plus 3 times x minus 3 and you should FOIL it, you end up with x squared minus 3x plus 3x minus 9. If you combine like term, the middle term cancel out each other, leave with x squared minus 9. So that's why it's so important that the signs are different. One has to be positive, one has to be negative for the middle terms to be additive inverse, and they cancel out each other. Example, factor x squared minus 49. First, I need to find the square root of the first term, and my first term is x squared. So the square root of x squared is equal to x. Second, I need to find the square root of the second term. So the square root of 49 is equal to 7. And then I'm going to put it inside the parentheses. One parentheses needs to have a plus, one needs to have a minus. And since x squared came first, the x should be the beginning of the parentheses. And the 49 came second, so it should be in the back of the parentheses. So therefore, it's going to be x and the 7, x and the 7, and we just need the sign in the middle. And we know that one is positive and one is negative, and that's the final answer. It will be x plus 7 times x minus 7. Factor 9x squared minus 16. First, we need to find the square root of the first term. And the first term is 9x squared. So the square root of 9x squared is equal to 3x because the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of x squared is x. Now we need to find the square root of the second term. And the second term is 16. So therefore the square root of 16 is equal to 4. We're going to put them inside the parentheses. The 3x should come first and the 4 should be the last thing in the parentheses. So we're going to put them in the parentheses. And remember, one needs to be positive and one needs to be negative. So it's going to be 3x plus 4 times 3x minus 4, and that's your final answer. Also note that it doesn't matter which parentheses comes first. It could be 3x minus 4 times 3x plus 4. Let's check for understanding. Factor 36x squared minus 25. And here's a challenge. Factor 16x to the fourth minus 81. Solution. Factor 36x squared minus 25. So what we need to know is what is the square root of 36x squared. The square root of 36 is 6 and the square root of x squared is x. And then we need to know what's the square root of 25. And the square root of 25 is equal to 5. We open our parentheses. The 6x should come first. And the 5 should be in the end of the parentheses. So now we have 6x and the 5, the 6x on the 5. We just need to put our signs inside the parentheses. And remember, one is positive and one is negative. And that's your final answer. It doesn't matter if you had 6x minus 5 times 6x plus 5. They're exactly the same. Now, let's do the solution for number 2. First, I want to know what's the square root of 16x to the fourth. That will be the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of x to the fourth is x squared. Then I want to do the square root of 81, which is equal to 9. I'm going to open my two parentheses where the 4x should be in the front and the 9 should be the last in the parentheses. One gets a plus and one gets a minus. However, that is not your final answer. The sum of two squares, remember, is a prime and can't be factored with real numbers. So that means the 4x squared plus 9, which is a sum of two squares, will stay the same. However, we can factor the difference of two squared. So what I want to know right now is what is the square root of 4x squared? The square root of 4x squared is equal to 2x. And I also want to know what's the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is equal to 3. And remember, the difference of two squared, when you factor, it gives you two new parentheses. So therefore, I'm going to add two new parentheses where the 2x's comes to the front and the 3 will be the last in the parentheses. And remember, when we factor the difference of two squared, one parentheses get a plus and one gets a minus. So I'm going to go ahead and add the sign in. And those three parentheses together is my final answer. So my final answer is 4x squared plus 9 times 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 3. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click that little bell for further notification. And like and share my videos. If you like what you saw in this video, feel free to buy me a cup of coffee. It's not mandatory. Thank you in advance.